Thank you all for coming, especially in this special situation. It's wonderful to see all of you here to honor Dr. Robert Guthrie Jarrell Jr. by being at his dedication of this Memorial Plaza. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm old Dr. Russ Greer, and I came from right here in God's country. I grew up on a farm on Biomason in an area we call Arrowhead Valley. Now, I'm mentioning that Dr. Guthrie Jarrell and I were friends in and out of the medical world. He was more mature than I, and we traveled around. We saw the governor together, and we even visited with Ronald Reagan in the White House. We were fraternity brothers. It was a fun time to know him, but he always dearly wished to be remembered as having been born in Oak Grove, Louisiana. And I've done my best to honor that wish. Now, today, with our elevated average age and today average temperatures in June, we're going to try to be somewhat brief with our introductions, and perhaps our presentations will be somewhat similarly brief but to the point. However, before we give the opening prayer, is Bill Bearden here? Hey, you've got a seat right here, young man. Thank you for coming. Have a seat right there, moderator. I wanted to tell you a brief story it's very brief, about Louisiana Tech and how much it has meant for so many people here. You know, it was a great place of higher learning, but also it was a great place to cement friendships. And Guthrie Jarrell went to Louisiana Tech, and he loved Louisiana Tech. And he never married, and I think he married Louisiana Tech. But I had many friends that went to Tech, and a dear friend of mine and we had physics degrees in Tech, and we traveled a lot, worked in the space program, and then eventually he moved to Washington State, and I worked in neurosurgery at Monroe, and we grew old, and he died, bless his heart, but he wanted to be buried in Oak Grove also. And so I went to Washington, brought his ashes back, and as I was taking his ashes to the cemetery to find out how to plan this, because I hadn't any experience in that, it was lunchtime, and I went to Cindy Kay's restaurant on the way, and I went into Cindy Kay's, and I was sitting at a table, and I was somewhat low and down in the dumps, and I'm feeling low. And then a man came up to my table. I'd never seen the guy, didn't know him from Adam, and he introduced himself and sat down at the table. In just a few minutes, I felt such relief. And I want to introduce this man to you today. This man is Brother Bill Bearden with the Harvest Assembly Church of God here in Oak Grove for our opening prayer. Bill Bearden.
Thank you, Dr. Russ Greer, and it is an honor for me to be here today. I can assure you of that. And we've been pastoring here in Oak Grove for over 18 years, but I was reared about 13, 14 miles east of here. I was gone for many years and came back 18 years ago and started Harvest Assembly of God Church, and we've been here ever since. And I guess I'll be here the remainder of my ministry right here. So it's a blessing. And it's always good to be with people that you know. And many of you I do know and recognize, and very, very thankful and honored again to be here today. And I tell you, things like this never just happen. So Dr. Greer, thank you for making this happen. I think we need to give him a big round of applause today. Absolutely. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you today and praise you for all your many blessings that you bestow upon us each and every day of our life. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of eternal life. None of that is made possible except through your Son, Jesus Christ. So we're grateful and thankful. Thankful today that we're able to gather, honor a man who many remember very influential in many lives in this part of the country and other parts as well. So we pray, Lord, that you bless every person that stands behind this podium today to pay tribute. And Lord, we surely don't want to forget this great country that we live in. With all our problems, troubles, trials, tribulations, is still the greatest country in the world. And we thank you so much for the pleasure, the honor of being able to live in the United States of America, to be called American people. We're grateful and thankful today. So honored. Thank you for the men and women that have fought for our freedom. There's not anything that is free in life. It's always been with a price. So today, I just want to give you all praise, all glory, all honor, and thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this ceremony. Bless each and everything that's done. We thank you for it. We praise you for it. And we're so grateful today that we can pray, believe, and know all of these things in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
We have a fantastic mayor in this town, a superb mayor. He was delivered by Dr. Guthrie Jarrell. About that. There's so many people around here, you talk to him about Jarrell, so, oh, he delivered me. Well, Mayor Holland has followed this project all through from the beginning to the end. He helped with approvals through City Council. He helped with site selection. And there's so many other things he did. And we wish to introduce now Mayor Holland.
Thank you, Dr. Greer, and what a special day it is here for the town of Oak Grove. A great opportunity to come here to celebrate a special man. I'm not a Louisiana Tech person by no means, but we appreciate the support of the other school on I-20 for this project today. And thank y'all all for coming out. Today's a special day for me personally as well. As it's well documented, I'm towards the twilight of my tenure as mayor, so it's very special to celebrate the man who brought me into the world as one of the last official duties that I have as mayor of this great city, and to cut the ribbon on this statue of Dr. Jarrell here at Veterans Plaza. Special place for our community here at Veterans Plaza. The names of all the men and women who have served our nation and paid the ultimate sacrifice are on the plaque right in front of Dr. Jarrell. But to Dr. Greer and all of the contributors who made this possible, a sincere thank you for choosing us for this great honor to permanently memorialize Dr. Jarrell. We welcome everyone here. We welcome our elected officials that have came to be with us today. I want to keep things short because I see Senator Thompson is on the schedule today. So I have to keep it quiet so we can get out of here. But also recognize our former elected officials because I'm going to be one of those in 100 hours. So I can't forget those. But thank you all for coming out today. Truly a special day for the town of Oak Grove. A special day to honor a great man who has meant so much to the citizens of Oak Grove, West Carroll Parish, and all of Northeast Louisiana. Thank you for coming out. Enjoy your ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor Adam. Now, it's time now to acknowledge guests, and we have several we wish to acknowledge. And as there are so many, please hold the applause until we get to the end and then give one big applause at the end. Martha Ann Lip Vining is the first cousin of Dr. Jarrell. She went to Louisiana Tech. She's now living in Lake Jackson, Texas, and she's here. Wave to us. Thank you, Martha Ann. Monty, let's hold it to the end. Thank you so much. Now, Monty Adams, are you here? Well, Monty Adams is the president of the Caldwell Holding Company, Caldwell Bank, and he indicated that he was going to be here today. He had a grand opening of another branch here in Oak Grove just last Friday. And he's on the executive committee for Northeast Louisiana Economic Alliance as well. Diana Greenlee. Diana, she mentioned, hey, there she is. She's in the back. She is the archaeologist for Poverty Point World Heritage Site and professor at ULM. Her great effort eventually finalized the designation of Poverty Point as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So she's fantastic. Mark Brink, the park manager there, Poverty Point, he just came here with a box that was just published by the Lieutenant Governor's office that is being circulated, and it's the latest thing. And it's missed one little thing about the magic circle on the front, but the concept was, since we were living in New Mexico and they had the enchanted circle going around Taos, that we had Poverty Point as a focal point here, and the magic circle was all these other places around Northeast Louisiana that for tourists could really enjoy. But I hope you enjoy those things we tested out that Mark Brink brought up here. Russell Clark was with the National Park Service, and he designed this whole layout. Ashley Dowdy just called me and was tied up, and she's with KRDD Fox 14. And Tana Trichelle and I were interviewed there a couple times for this project previously, and she just couldn't make it today. She was delivered by Dr. Jarrell. In fact, when she grew up and had a baby, Dr. Jarrell delivered her baby. So she was a unique person. KWCL 1220 FM. You know, we were interviewed on that radio station. As I understand, Mayor Adam, you're now the new owner. Is that correct? How about that? So go to the Fish Theater and listen to the radio and enjoy life in Oak Grove. Matt Glenn, the sculptor of big statues in Provo, Utah, tried to be here, but he couldn't make it. He's the one that made this happen. And Foster Campbell of the Louisiana Public Service Commission couldn't quite make it today, but Buddy Chanin, a former Louisiana State Representative, is working with Foster now, and he's with us today. Thank you. Now, we have Ramona Reiser Murillo, I hope I said that right, representative of Julia Letlow, U.S. Representative. Can you wave for us where you are? Ha! There you are. I like that orange. Ray Berthelot was a director of parks in Baton Rouge, and he couldn't make it today. Michelle Booth, she's been a consultant in the LEA, and there she is, and she's done so much, all of those things to make this happen. Are there any members of the town council here today? We want to recognize the town council. They helped get this thing through. Hey, there we go. Any members of the Oak Grove Chamber of Commerce? Any members of the, hey, so you're a double header. How about the police jury? Okay. Well, it's Joan Willis with Randy Morris. And did Randy Morris come up here? I don't see him today. There's so much going on with people getting hot and going to the hospital. He's in charge of the health system in this area and is doing so much. We appreciate that. Now we had also John McKinney, who's the president of the Union Parish Chamber of Commerce. I have to tell you something. There he is. I have to tell you something about this guy. He was in the Rotary Club there in Houston, and he was named the Rotarian Man of the Year in Houston, Texas. And also the mayor gave him the key to the city. So we're honored to have John here with us today. With Senator Bill Cassidy has a representative, Andrew Roberts. Well, hey, thank you so much for being here. And Senator John Kennedy has Hannah Livingston. Thank you so much for being here. And are any other NELEA members here? National. Hey, there we go. Thank you so much. Hi. And now there's Miss Louisiana, I can't forget her. Miss Reichman, the great clogger. Thank you so much for being here. My goodness. Let's give them all a great big applause for the wonderful being here. Now we want to give significant thanks to significant entities and all those that purchased a brick. I won't read your names because there are several, but please find your personal brick out on the plaza afterwards. Now, the platinum donors have bought bricks and we're anticipating their name somewhere, but we have this giant company that is in our apprentice area that happens to make aluminum, and that company is huge all over the world, 50 countries, 35,000 employees. Well, they provided us with benches that are anodized to look like the statue with bronze. And this, let me tell you about the statue. The statue is 300 pounds of bronze, made in Provo, Utah, by big statues, and it's to the height of together 6 feet 3 inches height, and it's on 3 feet solid concrete block. So we feel real proud of what has been done by the people that done all these things for this. So the first one that bought a brick was Carolyn Meyer. Carolyn, are we here? Well, Louisiana Tech Washita Valley Quarterback Club. Jeff Hawley, I saw him here somewhere. There he is. He's representing the Louisiana Tech Washita Valley Quarterback Club. Thank you. And Dr. and Mrs. John Ledbetter. I know he was working, he's in charge of the pain clinic there, Louisiana Pain Care. He was an anesthesiologist, but many of my patients asleep and started working to help people with pain. And then now he has 3 doctors with him in Louisiana Pain Care. And we sit together every 2 weeks at the neuroscience conference at St. Francis. Doing a great job. And Dr. Larry Dana, the ENT doc. I don't see him, he's really busy. When I first moved to Monroe, he was the only ENT specialist that knew how to get to where the brain is through the face. And so to get the tumors, it's sort of easy going from the top, but going through the face is a little difficult. And so he and I worked on over 300 cases together, and I just so wish he was here, but he helped us out by buying bricks as well. And now, John and Mijay O'Neill. Where is Mijay? Ha! There we are, John. Hey, I have to tell you about Mijay. She went to Louisiana Tech, and those were some fine folks over there. But I have to tell you, well, she was there about when my sister was over there. A little bit times, a little slightly overlap. But she is the daughter of Tom Mitchener, and I have to tell you about this big store over here with these columns up there. That's the Redmond Mitchen store, so that's her legacy there. And the Redmond Mitchen store, as I was growing up, was to Oak Grove as the palace was to Monroe. So thank you for being here and your whole family. Now, Hydro Aluminum, when we first started talking about benches, they provided, via Fred Eubanks, who has since retired, the anodized aluminum brick, as we mentioned. And a representative of that company, as I mentioned, their headquarters is in Oslo, Norway. They have 35,000 employees, and they're in 50 countries. And we're so pleased to have that kind of economic boost in this whole area of Northeast Louisiana. And Shane Shaw is here to represent them, and I want to recognize Shane. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Now we get to the good part. Mr. Johnny Reeves is a primary donor. His name is on the story wall. His input was the thrust we needed to begin talking to the sculptor to build this statue. He's a self-made man, entrepreneur, contractor, Dixie Storage Empire owner, home builder, but most of all, a dear friend of Dr. Jarrell. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Johnny Reeves.
Well, you can tell I've been around a long time. But anyway, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Greer and Ms. Rochelle for letting me be a part of this memorial for Dr. Jarrell. I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Jarrell while we were both attending Epps High School. I was in the 8th grade and he was in the 10th grade. He made a huge impression on my life. I was so impressed with the way he lived his life. Alcohol free, didn't smoke, and didn't even drink coffee. Just a clean lifestyle, and I admired that about him, and wanted to be and to build my life in the same way. We were best friends for years, took many trips, and spent a lot of quality time together over the years. Your best friend sometimes teaches you life lessons that you nor or they might not even realize. A best friend is someone that I think God gives you to make your life more, let me get my paper over, make your life a bit easier and enjoyable. It's a sign saying that you're not alone in this world, and that there are people out there who have the same goals and wishes as you. You will walk down a similar path, and your best friend and walk down your best friend will path. But the special bond between the two never breaks. There's always, they always say, count your blessings. He's one of my blessings that I will always remember. A great, always in my, anyway, I want to thank him for being there and just being you. This is your day, Guthrie. Thank you. Oh, well, you know how it goes. I got it.
I tell you, you just can't beat friendships, and this is one of the best. Thank you so much, Johnny Reeves. We left out Louisiana Stewart Cassidy. We want Kathy. It's Kathy. Thank you so much. We tried to come by your office, and you were in Baton Rouge. Made plans for you being here. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. We were going to recognize Randy Morris. He was a primary donor. Mr. Morris was essential to the construction of this plaza. As administrator owner for West Carroll Health Systems, his donation of not only money, advice, and guidance, but he also supplied the contractor who actually erected the statue, built the plaza, the story wall, and installed the benches. He has served as president of the rural health system throughout Louisiana. I'm so sorry he's not here for us to enjoy his presence. So we're going to move to one other entity, Dr. Les Geis. Up until he had put his event on this calendar personally for months and described how honored he was to be here. But just the day before yesterday, he was notified that he was going to be in the call meeting of the Board of Regents in Baton Rouge at 10 o'clock this morning, and that's when we started. He's doing such a great job over there at Louisiana Tech. I can't say enough about it. And he was a great friend of Dr. Jarrell. But he sent a great representative for Louisiana Tech, Vice President Emerita Corey Stiegel. We just happened to be at Tech around the same time as well. She was Vice President for Advancement of Tech for about 20 years. Also included the Louisiana Tech Foundation and Alumni Association. When Dr. Jarrell first gave me pictures of himself for planning this statue, well, he had only headshots. He didn't have top to bottom shots. And so I called Louisiana Tech and the Alumni Association, and they said, well, we have one picture of him, and he's with a woman. He was standing in front of, he's always with one. They never married. The Miss Louisiana pageant, he was just there and surrounded by beautiful women all the time. Well, they sent me this picture with this woman there, and with real finesse at a camera shop there in Monroe, the woman's image was removed. And we were able to send Dr. Jarrell's image to Provo, Utah, and there we have our statue there. And I tell you, Corey Stiegel has worked extensively with Dr. Jarrell and all his tremendous support for Tech. And so it's with great admiration and honor to introduce Vice President Emerita of Louisiana Tech, Corey Stiegel.
Thank you, Russ. It's such an honor to be here. And as he said, Dr. Geis wanted to be here very much and has given me instructions all morning to take pictures and do all the things that he would do. He is in Baton Rouge, and they're kind of handing out the money today for the new fiscal year. You snooze, you lose when the money's handed out. So you got to be there, and he sends his greetings. And he shares the Tech family's deepest appreciation for the amazing Dr. Guthrie Jarrell, probably the most devoted, dedicated alumnus in Tech's 128-year history. Beginning as a 16-year-old freshman at Tech, after a stellar career at Epps High School, he was a great basketball player, and he used to show me the scrapbook that his mother had painstakingly kept. Martha Ann has seen it too. And it was great. He played basketball at Tech. He lettered in 1946, and he graduated in 1949 with degrees in biology and chemistry. Through his years in medical school in New Orleans and in the Navy, he never lost interest in Tech. When he returned to set up his practice in Monroe, he began immediately his career in the Tech Alumni Association. He enjoyed every sport that was ever played at Louisiana Tech. And we believe he attended more events and athletic competitions than any other person in history. He even came to cross-country meets. If you've ever been to one of those, it's kind of like watching paint dry, because you see them leave and then they come back after a while. But he was there. We have the Dr. Guthrie Jarrell meeting room in the Wiley Athletic Complex, and the Bulldog football meeting room in the Davison Athletic Complex is named in his honor. He was the then anonymous donor that made possible the first artificial turf at Louisiana Tech, and the first artificial turf in this part of the state. His love for the Lady Texter program started at the very beginning, and he saw every national championship game and almost every other game. He was their team physician, and Coach Leon Barmore adored him. He said he's the most loyal, most intense fan the Lady Texters in Louisiana Tech ever had. He lived in the arena with me. It was like he was on the bench with me. Victories were all he cared about. He lived for the next game. Dr. Jarrell supported every area at Louisiana Tech, athletics and all academics. He provided scholarships, endowed professorships, and academic area support. He was always available to professors for class presentations for his pre-med students. He cared about it. He loved it. Always one to encourage others to support Tech. Doc was president of the Alumni Association, a director of the University Foundation, and a primary mover and shaker behind the hugely successful area annual meeting in Monroe that we call The Happening, the family reunion in Monroe. He and his friend Harper Willis, another great Tech alumnus, always encouraged supporters in West Carroll and Richland Parish. And Tech was fortunate to have his encouragement, and I say encouragement, not arm twisting, for the many wonderful athletes and students who came to Tech from West Carroll Parish. He was acknowledged as Tech's official Alumnus of the Year in 1975, but we all knew that no matter who else might have won that honor, Doc was always the Alumnus of the Year. He was named a Distinguished Alumnus of Tech's first 100 years in 1994, having been named to Tech's Hall of Distinguished Alumni. the highest honor you can receive at Tech, in 1982. In 1998, he was inducted into Tech Athletics Hall of Fame. The list of accolades could go on, but for Doc, it was about a passion for excellence, a constant striving to be the best you could be. As every university president, athletic director, and coach he ever knew would tell you, he could hardly celebrate a fantastic victory because he was already concerned about the next one. If alumni support increased 10% in a year, he was already on me aiming for a bigger increase the next year. And he was the man who absolutely did everything he could to make the best things happen. No university ever had a finer member of its family. This plaza and statue are wonderful tributes to this man who absolutely loved this area and its people. He never forgot his roots and his people. We all share tremendous gratitude for Guthrie Jarrell, one of God's finest servants. The last line of Tech's alma mater says, "I will ever loyal be to thee, my alma mater." Alma mater, of course, is the Latin phrase for nourishing mother. Indeed, he was loyal. He loved everything that he loved with loyalty every day of his life. In everything he did, he brought pride and honor to his family, his home here in West Carroll Parish, and to his university, Louisiana Tech University. I know we all thank God for this great man whose legacy of excellence and loyalty will always live on. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey, so much. Mike Walsworth is next, and similarly, Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser had stated he wanted to be here for this event, but was elsewhere, required. He sent his representative, Mike Walsworth, and Mike is well known as he is a former Louisiana State representative and a former Louisiana State governor. It is an honor to introduce Mike Walsworth.
Thank you, Dr. Russ. And look, we all know we just got through with one of his loves, which is Louisiana Tech. But I think if you know Dr. Jarrell, he had a second love, and that was Miss Louisiana and that program. And we just got a new one this past weekend, and I think it is fitting. And on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, I know this is what he'd want me to do. He'd want me to say, Gracie, come on up and say something. She is our newest Miss Louisiana. Just got elected, I guess we could say, this past Saturday night. She's going to be a fantastic, and I think she's going to be a fantastic Miss America. Gracie, go ahead.
Well, I did plan for this, so I have something to say. Dr. Jarrell began his involvement with the Miss Louisiana pageant, as we know, a very long time ago, back in 1950, when it was first held in Lake Providence. And then in 1963, when the pageant transferred to Monroe, Louisiana, Dr. Jarrell was a very large part in that transition to Monroe. He was actively involved in the Miss Louisiana organization up until his death until 2017. I actually met Dr. Jarrell once when I was 12. So looking back on it, when I was told that I was going to come to this memorial and this statue unveiling, it was a special moment for my mom and I, because that was the first year that I got involved in the Miss Louisiana organization. So knowing that he's had a large impact on so many Miss Louisianas, but he was one of the first impacts on my journey to becoming Miss Louisiana, it's kind of a full circle moment. So he attended every Miss Louisiana competition from 1950 to 2016, and he attended most of all of the Miss America pageants in Atlantic City and Las Vegas. So that's a huge task, taking that trip all the way up there, but he was so supportive of the Miss Louisiana organization. As Miss Louisiana, our crown has 4 points, and each 4 points stands for style, scholarship, service, and success. To Dr. Jarrell, service was the most important. And so he was just so invested in each Miss Louisiana, representing those 4 points of the crown and representing everything that the Miss Louisiana organization does for young women across our state, the scholarship dollars, being able to come to events like this and network and communicate. I mean, Dr. Jarrell was completely invested, and like I said, he touched my heart in such a way. He has touched so many former Miss Louisianas, and his impact and his legacy will be known for years to come in the Miss Louisiana organization. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to come. It's an honor for this to be one of my first official events. So I'm very excited for the year ahead, and if there's anything I can do, please let me know.
Thank you, Miss Louisiana, and thank you, Mike Walsworth, for that introduction for her, because she was much better to look at than Mike Walsworth. I want to talk about Tana Trishell. She's the president and CEO of Northeast Louisiana Economic Alliance, and a fantastic mover and shaker for the economy for all the Northeast Louisiana parishes. When I first started this project, trying to set up a 501c3 co-op to provide tax incentives for people to donate, this was very challenging for a one brief event project. Tana said she already had that within the LEA, and she offered such. So she had this wonderful work job with us, and she worked with us throughout this entire project. We were on TV several times and radio interviews, and she was essential for this project's completion. At present, she is on a mission of economic enhancement for this area of Northeast Louisiana, and I have to tell you, one of the projects she worked on recently, she helped with the site selection for the Strategic Biofuels project in Columbia, which is slated to start construction this summer, which has evolved into being over $1 billion project with a B. I have to have, and she is out of state. She's still in the United States, but wanted me to read one more thing. This is from Tana. She says, "This has been one of the most enjoyable projects we've ever participated in. I thank Dr. Greer for his vision for Memorial for a truly great citizen. Getting to know Mr. Johnny Reeves genuinely has been a real treat. To hear how wonderful a friendship they had makes me yearn for the same for us all." And we thank Tana Trishell for those thoughts. Now, I want to move on to something that's great, but before I introduce our super speaker for today, I want to mention that there's a photo shoot scheduled for primary donors, platinum donors, the mayor, city council members, NELA members, everybody that helped with the bricks, bought bricks, and helped with this project. Please cluster around, and Miss Louisiana as well, cluster around Francis Thompson while he cuts the ribbon, and we've got big giant scissors to help him do that. And we finalized this project, but I want to mention about Francis Thompson. If you need something done, call Francis Thompson. He knows how to do it politically. I first met him, I was teaching a physics lab class at Carson Taylor Hall, Louisiana Tech, and he came in as a student, and I have to tell you, I found out soon that he could talk his way to the front of the class in any class. And it's my honor to introduce Louisiana Representative Francis Thompson. Where are you?
Thank you, Russ. Those were very nice, but that was human anatomy and physiology. And I can remember because you worked my butt off. But I really have a lot of respect. This is a great day, and they gave me about 25 or 30 minutes worth of information. I'm going to cut it down to 5 because I'm not going to look at it. But I want to ask all of you this question. Wouldn't it be nice to know that when you leave this life that you have someone like Dr. Russ Greer backing you up? Now, if there's any of you out there that would just do a couple of things for me, I would appreciate that. But he has worked untired on every project that they started together. And Johnny's the same way. He can't run 100 yards like he used to, but he's still going. And we appreciate that and the effort put forth. But today, we're recognizing Dr. Jarrell. And all of you remember, I had a family of doctors. My grandfather was a doctor, my brother and his son, and my daughter-in-law. So we knew most of the doctors, and we would hear who was good and who wasn't so good to go to. And I can remember back now that Dr. Jarrell was well thought of. And if Russ Greer had been coming along, he would have been the top man. But he was always at Oak Grove, away from us. But we knew of his good work. And he's brought into this world thousands of newborns. And not only did he care for the kids, but he had to care for the parents, because a lot of those parents could not take care of those kids like he wanted them taken care of. So I remember him for that. And I didn't want to be, I told my wife, I had so many nice thoughts about Dr. Jarrell. He gave me so many things to do. He thought I worked for him, and he didn't know I worked for the public. And it didn't matter where I represented Oak Grove or Monroe or anywhere. He was interested in Poverty Point. But that was just one of the many things. He would be so happy here today. Especially, he would be sitting over there by Miss Luciana. He loved pretty girls. And anybody disagree with that? But before I get through, I wanna tell you that he was a giant for this area. He cared about. He was proud of Epps. He was proud of all this area, but certainly proud of West Carroll Parish and Oak Grove. And I thank the mayor, he's still our mayor now, for all the support that he's given for this community, to be able to leave this monument to a man that deserves it, truly deserves it. I thank those that came, like Corey Stigholm, with the doctor, still runs Louisiana Tech from home. But I thank her for coming and speaking up. He loved Tech and everything about it. And I didn't know the things he knew about Tech, and he would ask me, what do you think about this? I said, I didn't know about that. None of the presidents asked me about that. And he said, oh, I understand. But he was forthright, and he never was easy to please. He always wanted more out of you. And I tried to give him all I could. And one of the big things, and we wanted to mention that, is Poverty Point. And it's fitting today that that statue is out here on this street. And this is going to be our northern boundary, our step into Poverty Point historical area. Now, I'm glad we've got people here today representing them that do such a wonderful job for it. And I'd be remiss, and I told them that I wanted to have Senator Kathy here with me today, because he played a big part in this. He's a great senator, does a great job, and he hasn't been there long to learn all the ropes, but he knows the ones to jerk on. And without him, we wouldn't have been able to get, and I'll have to say the Lord Almighty, because the governor took the project away from us. He, at one time, he didn't really take it away, but he said, I'm not going to fund it for you. You're spending too much, and this is going to cost over $20 million when it is completed. and I don't know why I'm talking over here. The beauty is over here too. But the project that we've done, and you need to probably come up here and finish with me if you'd like. But the project at Poverty Point will be meaning. It puts us with the pyramids in Egypt. It is so important for this area. And we have done a great job. I wish Tanner was here. Russ Greer has worked hard. We had a group that did a lot of work. And I have to say, Dr. Jarrell was trying to pop his whip, making us do more. But we finished that project with on a positive note. We got a World Heritage Site. Only a few of those in the United States. The last one that got one was the Alamo. They came behind us. Usually you read about Texas being ahead of us. They did one ahead of us on the World Heritage Site. So be proud that we have a lot of workers, including all these here and many out here and elsewhere. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Cass Bird, who was the state head of our archaeology department in the state of Louisiana. She was the lieutenant governor, and I want to say it's good to have Mike Waldsworth. I had a great time serving with him in House and Senate, and he knows what to do, and he's another one that can get a lot done. He and I don't know, I can't tell you how many telephone calls we've been on. It'd be, yes, you're going to get it this week, and this is the one that's going to pay for it. Next week, oh, he dropped out, we don't have a program. You're going to have to find someone else. That's been going on for several years. But, and I'm not going to give Kathy, he didn't hit anybody, but he was right there pushing on this time. So we're fortunate to have him. At this time, I want to thank everybody, and if it's anybody we've left out, it wasn't intentional. Russ Greer, next time I have a fundraiser, I'm going to ask him to handle it. We'll just remember that when you get a card from him. And we're going to move over here. I'm going to let you give the instructions. And we've got, nobody needs a haircut. Some might need a haircut. But those will go over there and cut the ribbon. Let's make sure, Russ, if you would, make sure that we cover everything.
2 more points. There's a Miss West Carroll here. We'd like to recognize her. Would you wave to everyone, please? We're thankful you're here too. And there's one more person we left out. When we had negotiations for these aluminum benches, Fred Eubanks was with the big company that did that, and then he's retired. I just wanted to mention Fred helping us get that started. Thank you so much. Now, I think
put that money up.
they did. Didn't have to pay a cent for that.
I might mention that facilities in Delhi.
Yeah. There's 3 plants all over. Listen, we could all want to know, we want to migrate over so that the heavies are all around, including Miss Louisiana and Miss West Carroll, right by where he doesn't do this. He doesn't do brain surgery with this. He's just going to cut ribbons. So this concludes our dedication, and thank you all for being here. I pray to you guys. Thank you so much. Now let's take a picture.